Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Very good. Now,
Yes, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay. Hayom Kotzov. Yeah, everyone open up the end of the parsha.
Yeah, one for Ari.
Nitzavim.
David, can you pass that down? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Vayeilech, Vayeilech. Okay, I'm sorry, go back. Nitzavim, the end of Nitzavim.
Amen.
The last aliyah. Kapitel Lamed, Posuk Tezvov. The Rebbe used to say the kapitel, even though kapitel is maybe it comes from Greek, it comes from the but the point in Yiddish, a chapter is called a kapitel, not a pedic. And the Rebbe said that the Tzemach Tzedek used to use this terminology kapitel, even though he could have said pedic. Just like the Baal Shem Tov, that we say the Baal Shem Tov said this Torah and Loshen Kodesh. I'm sorry, but Loshen Yiddish, even though he could have said it Loshen Kodesh, but it was an Indian to purify the language of the Goyim, and I guess Tzemach Tzedek felt that the word kapitel was already in his body. That was okay. So in the end of Nitzavim, Kapitel Lamed Posuk Tezvav. Alan, you see it?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Rein osat lefnecha yemes achayim esat haves hamaves v'saro asher anoichem etzav chayim lavas Hashem alakecha lelechet b'drocha b'lishmor mitzvoysa v'cholkoysa v'mishpota v'chayisa v'levisa v'veirachecha Hashem alakecha v'aretz shadav Hashem ablishta. So David says, look, I gave you two paths. A one path is Chaim and Toiv, and the other is the opposite. The good path is the one v'nifne levavcha v'loisishma v'nidachta v'ishtachalisa l'lohim achenim v'avadetom igat l'chem hayom ki ovet hevedim v'loisarichum yom nal adam asher tamay v'eres hayard v'sham lo v'sham alishta. Okay. Conclusion. Ha'idoisi v'chem hayom. I will now say testimony. I will put now witnesses for you. It's a Shemayim, there's audits. The witnesses is the Shemayim, and the audit their witness. You should know there's the road of Chaim and Movis, a Brocha v'Aklola, the road of Brocha, Aklola b'Charta b'Chaim v'Antechat v'Zerach. Okay. Dr. Rashi, Hadoisi v'Chamayim. Alan, you got that, Rashi?
Yes.
Okay. You Adim, they're going to be witnesses. The second shot. David said to the Jewish people, look in the heaven that I created. Show me your Chumash. Okay. Yeah, you got it. Right. They change their midah. Is it that the sun did not go up on the right and give light to the whole world? As the pasuk says, that the sun shines and then comes and then sets itself. Furthermore, look at the earth that I made, that is there to be mishamish, to serve you. Look at the earth. Did it ever change its midah? Did you ever plant and it didn't grow? Maybe you once planted chitim and came out soirim. By them, there isn't a concept of reward or punishment. If they do good, they don't get reward, and if they do bad, they don't get punished. They didn't change their midah. If you were zoiche, you're mekabel schar. And if you sin, you get to punish. You should learn from that. That's a sifrei. We're in Nitzavim, Kapitel Lamed Posuk Yud Tes. Okay, David, you got it. You saw the Rashi. Okay.
I have it here. What?
Posuk Yud Tes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So
That's how shiur.
You're allowed now. You're
So that's not the last,
you're third lump. We're third lump. You're ahead of us.
oh, what's that about?
Go to Florida, you can come back.
10.
you got it.
Today I call him.
You see it? Okay. So on this Rashi, the Rebbe asks a couple of questions. In the second shot, never mind the first shot. Let's talk about the second. The second shot is a very long shot. The second shot. Why does Rashi have to give an example of what is Shinu Midosa? Rashi gives an example of why does he give this, when he picks something in Shemayim, he picks the Shemesh. Why does he pick the Shemesh? There's a lot of things going on in heaven. One of the things that are going on in heaven is rain, right? Rain, if a Jew, we already learned in Pashas B'Chukoisai, Pashas Kisavi last week, that if a Jew does good or doesn't do good, that the rain will come or won't come.
Shem is really strong.
Stronger than the sun.
Yeah.
But the rain, is we spoke about a lot of times in the Torah. Then why all of a sudden Galgal come? So if you learn the Gemara, you know that there's a whole discussion. Who's moving around? The sun or the Galgal that's moving the sun? But why does Rashi have to get involved over here? Rashi says that Shema Loyola Galgal Achama. The child doesn't at this point, unless he's learning instead of in a cheder, he's learning in some secular. Yeah, kid is not taught to shkinkashas. All of a sudden, the sun, he sees the sun goes up and the sun goes down. Why does Rashi have to say the galgal chama? And then b'chlal kasha, Rashi says that the sun goes up and the sun sets, and he brings that ayah from a pasuk. You need a eye from a pasuk to know that the sun goes up and the sun goes down. If I didn't bring you a eye from a pasuk, you wouldn't know that the sun in the morning goes up in the mizrach and then sets in the ma'ariv. You have to bring a pasuk in kehelis for that. And then he brings another example from the audits. So I understand why, because the Torah says "Eidois Shemayim as audits." The emphasis tak on the Torah gufa. Why does the Torah have to have two things? And then when we say in the Shemayim, Rashi gives one example from the Galgal Chama. In the ground, he gives two things. One is that you ever plant and it didn't grow, and the second one is that you ever plant chitim and instead, when you came to the time to harvest, you get zoida. A lot of times people plant and it doesn't. It says that the Adam Rishon got punished. Koitz v'dardet atzmiach loch. You're going to plant, and instead of getting plants, you're going to get koitz v'dardet. It happens. That's what the Eibusha says in Chumash. Never mind the farmer. The Eibusha says that you're going to plant and you're going to get koitz v'dardet. And why does Rashi give two examples? And if he gives two examples, what's dafke Hashem zeratim chitim the tzamchas oire? Could say Hashem zeratim min echad, but tzamcha min acher. Why dafke picked the chitim and soirim? By now, we're already talking at least a dozen kashas. The Rebbe counted up the kashas, almost 20 kashas. So, at the health day, this Shabbos I was learning. One of my children. It was a birthday. And she turned 18. Little Kapitel Yutes. So, start, Pasha Shgocha Protis. So Rashi says, the Shemayim Mesaprim Kloi Del. Umasa Yoda Magid Rakia. Rashi says, Shemayim Mesaprim Kloi Kel. What does it mean, Shemayim Mesaprim Kloi Kel? When a person looks at the Shemayim and he looks at the Rakia and he sees how intricate billions of stars and then all the galaxies, and he understands the beauty and the intricacy, how beautiful it is. He realizes the Eibishter, it can't be that it happened on its own. He sees how complex and beautiful it is. It has to be created by the Eibishter. Very nice. Forshim say on Rashi, that Rashi, why couldn't Rashi say, Hashemayim Mesaprim Floyd Kel, L'masav Yodav Magid Rakia? It should have. That the Shemayim sings to Hashem, and the Rakia sings to Hashem. And they ask the kasha like this. We find in the Rambam in the Hilchos Yesod HaTorah in Perek Daled, the Rambam says that the four elements in this world, Eish, Ruach, Mayim, Ofer, they have a teva, but they don't have any seichel. They have a haskel. They have no seichel. A rock doesn't go down because it has a seichel. Fire doesn't go up. That's the teva that the Eibishter made. That's what the Eibishter made a teva. But the Galgalim, they're balei they have a haskel. The Rambam says that the das HaMalochim is bigger than the das of the Galgalim, and the Galgalim are bigger than human beings. So human beings, their seichel goes like this, artificial intelligence included. Then there is the seichel of the Galgalim, and then there's the seichel of the Malach.
What's the definition of Galgalim?
Well, the Galgalim are these things that maybe I am going to translate it tonight for the shiur as galaxies.
Okay.
Not knowing if it's true or not true. The Rambam says that the Galgalim are these things that are moving around the world. So
more than a planet.
Okay.
A whole galaxy. A galaxy is a whole.
I will translate just for convenience, because galaxy sounds like Galgalim. So tonight for the shiur, until someone tells me otherwise, I will translate Galgalim as galaxies, although it might be true or not true. The Rambam says what Galgalim are. It says that around the world there is these things that are like an onion. They're translucent. You can see through them, but they're one in the other, and they're all moving in different directions. And for example, the Kamas and Galgal in the fourth Galgal, and the in Hilchos Kiddush HaChodesh, the Rambam talks more in detail how the sun moves. The sun has several movements, and the moon also has movements as more. That's why the Rambam says, the moon is spinning in all kinds of directions. There's the Galgal, there's the moon, and it's spinning in several directions. Right, the Mazolas are in Galgalachi.
Yeah.
The Mazolas are in Galgalachi. Okay. So
The point is that they have a seichel.
they have seichel. I don't know if the Mazolas have seichel, but the Galgalim have seichel. That's what the Rambam says. The Galgalim have seichel. The Forshim say,
Like a rock that doesn't do anything.
not like a rock. A rock has no seichel. But the Galgalim, the Tishas Galgalim,
The sun shines.
the Tishas Galgalim, they have seichel. That's what the Rambam says. So the Meforshim say, if according to the Rambam, you don't have to say, you say Hashemayim Mesaprim Floyd Kel, that the heaven sings Hashem's praises. It's an intelligent creature. And you don't have to say Hashemayim Mesaprim Floyd Kel, that the human beings standing here are looking up. I say, wow, it's intelligent, it's so brilliant, there's billions of details, and they're so coherent, and they work together, and it's not, you don't have to say all that. Simple. Hashemayim Mesaprim Floyd Kel, the Shemayim tells the covenant of the Eibishter. So here, the truth is the truth is the Meforshim seem to be right. Now, on the face of it, there's no reason why you should think of Pshuta Shel Mikra. There's a medrash. I mean, that this medrash says that sun is a ball of fire. If a child is going to ask his malamed, what's the shemesh? The shemesh will tell him it's a ball of fire. Maybe if you start trying to sound a little fancy and scientific, he'll start talking about gases. But the medrash says it's a ball of fire. A ball of fire hat nicht kein seichel. So therefore, Rashi now, Rashi wants to says that in the second shot that Abisha said, look at these people, look at the shemesh. So it makes more sense to Rashi to talk about the galgal hashemesh than the shemesh itself, because it's very hard to say that the shemesh has any seichel and has any choice to shine, not to shine. To say that the shemesh is like a rock, it's like a fire, it's a natural thing. So therefore, the Rashi says the galgal shemesh. Therefore, the Rashi says istaklu b'shamayim. Well, we're in the shemayim. Everything in the shemayim is they're like rocks. So he says istaklu. Look at the galgal. But the Rambam, he does agree with the Rambam. The galgalim have seichel, and therefore he brings a pasuk from Kehelis. The pasuk Kehelis says uva zarach hashemesh uva hashemesh. What does it mean uva? It's simple Hebrew. Uva. Not vehuva, uva. What means ba? Boina. Boina. Would you say to a rock boina? Would you say ever to a bottle of seltzer boina? You wouldn't say that because the seltzer has no rock, no feet. At the Bagbuk seltzer, you would say. Could you pass it to me? When you say v'zorach hashemesh ubo hashemesh, not like hamoitzi b'misper kerchovim. We say that the Eibush is moitzi the kerchovim. We say Zorach Hashemesh Ubo Hashemesh. And Rashi is not trying to bring an ayah that you should every morning the sun comes up in the east and Shekeah in the west. A little child already sees it in the morning. He sees it comes up in the east and it's Shekeah in the west. And you don't have to bring a pasuk for that. Rashi wants to say when the Torah says, "Look at the Shamayim," he meant the Galgal Hashemesh. Now, Mehechitesi that the Rambam is right. How do you know Rambam is right that has an intelligent being? The Rashi brings a pasuk of Bora Hashem, Zorach Hashemesh, Ubo Hashemesh. It's mashka. The shemesh itself is bo.
But Rabbi, we cannot look even the shemesh in front of city kalka.
But we see
We
that.
don't know what it is. See the Rambam. Huh? We see the Rambam.
Yeah.
I don't have the head of the Rambam.
The Galgal Shemesh refers to the sun revolving.
The revolver.
Yeah.
The one that makes the sun revolve is the Galgal. The Galgal is the one that makes the sun
This
move.
is Hashem. I mean, Hashem
Everything
makes
works
it
from
move.
Hashem, but I understand. But Hashem made the rock, and Hashem made that the rock has no seichel. He made him in the basic elements of the world. He made that they don't have seichel; they just have a teva. Fire goes up not because it thinks, "Oh, it's time to go up." The rock falls down not because the rock thinks, "Oh, I should go down." The rock falls because of gravity; it goes down. The fire goes up because that's the teva the Eibishter made. But the Galgalim, they do have their Bali Seichel Vahaskel, that Rambam says. The Rebbe is learning that the Rashi really does agree with the Rambam. Not necessarily that the sun itself, but the Galgal Hashemish, which is,
Refers to what?
as I said, I don't know exactly what
Said
Mr. Galgal is.
Generals.
There's 9 Galgalim. For tonight, we will translate Galgalim as galaxies.
So we're
Your
talking about the
homework is to
galaxy of
figure
the
out-
sun.
Yeah,
So now we're
Yeah.
talking about that the sun has a galaxy.
yes.
All right.
Your homework is to find out when the Rambam said the 9 Galgalim have Seichel, what's the exact translation for that?
One of the guy came up one day and says to them,
So if it's because they're Baladei Haskell, mashma they could do that.
Now,
Mashma they could do that.
to them, not trying.
Oh, so that's a chiddush. That's the
like
chiddush double.
tomorrow is a national holiday. Sun doesn't take off tomorrow.
Oh, that's the chiddush. That's what he's saying. Look at the Shemayim. Look at that's why he picked. That's why he picked the sun. He didn't pick Yishomim. Yishomim.
One day you see the moon,
Huh?
one day you see the moon, one day you don't see the moon. It's not
No.
see everything.
No, you could say the sun. The fact that they picked the sun.
It's sun you see.
Right. The fact that he put the sun and not the moon is probably like you said. Because Rashi says
You see it.
because you see it. Because the union of being mayor is something that everyone could see. The moon you could see, Amol you don't see. A moon that could be once in a blue moon. So,
This had a super blue moon.
we just had a super blue moon. I was sitting with the kids where we were roasting marshmallows, and I said, "Look at this! Never seen in my life such a thing. There is no lights, no city lights, miles in each direction, and we don't need a flashlight. Nothing. We see there was a field of corn, and you could see the it's like it's like before Shkia,
Wow.
and it's the middle of the night." So the kids looked it up and they said, "Taka, this is once in a blue moon. The next time we're going to see is in
Another
20
or something.
in 2037. You can't take a picture of it unless you have an unbelievable camera."
Well,
What-
what does it mean when we read how the steps, it was a
Rock.
no, in the base of Mikdash. They didn't have steps because it would embarrass the steps if the Kohen.
That's a good question. So
had to step on it, so
Right.
it was a
Run.
ramp.
Right.
It was a ramp. It was
She
not.
says it.
So that must have been something.
Right. Okay,
What
that's a
is-
good question.
Rashi
That's a good question. 1 second. Rashi. So there's a discussion about that. Yes, it's that the shaloi tegola vos chalov. You're not allowed to make it steps. The rocks in the Beis Hamikdash don't have any seichel to feel bushin. So the simple answer is that that it's not about the rocks. It's about other human beings should take a lesson. That should take a lesson.
It's like
That's a-
covering the challah during Kiddush.
Right. To take a lesson. Huh?
Not too much.
Like the guy said, the person, how do I like that? So you're like, yeah, you open.
Well, maybe
Suggest-
that's-
Lapoil, whatever. Lapoil, that's what the Pasuk said.
Oh, you're 100%.
Right, it's a growth. That's what I'm saying.
It's a rubber wheel.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, the Rashi is
Yeah, I'll have that last
for
one.
his, what's it? The Rambam has it, it's on a different level. That he can say Gadol.
Where is his rayas? He brings several rayas. He brings a few rayas.
Let's go to
He brings
I don't think,
He brings rayas. That person brings rayas.
let's go to Hodges, yeah.
But that's the Rambam holds. It's a pella big thing. Every time when you learn it,
Then I said the size, how big is the Galgal? You measure it.
it's a pella. But the Rambam holds that way. So he's saying that maybe that's what Ashi here is saying. He bring a pasuk to show that the Shemesh Taka has, and the Kshamim, we don't know, the Kshamim is maybe Yeshinu Midosim. The sun is never Shinu Midosim. Okay. So that's why we look at the Shemayim, and we take a lesson when the Torah says, look at the Shemayim, the lesson is from the sun. Okay. Now, what's the other lesson that we learned? The Rebbe says the first thing is that we have to learn is that people have questions. Doesn't just because we have questions doesn't mean we have to stop doing what we have to do. We have to keep on going about this Hashem. Just because you have a question, you don't stop going. Okay, that's the first lesson. Looking up in the heaven. What's the second lesson? All of us. Second lesson is to look in the audits. What's in the audits? What's in the audits? So, in a way, if you think about Shemayim audits, Shemayim in general is associated to Torah. Shemayim debarti amochem. The Eibush told Moshe, Moshe Amar Alei, you should go up to get the Torah. Mitzvahs is to do with audits. If you take an apple of a tree, a bird of their eights, you take the chitim off the ground and you make a adomo, you make a amazonas or a moitzi. So mitzvahs have to do with the audits. So in mitzvahs itself, from Samaisis, exactly. So in mitzvahs there is mitzvahs say, mitzvahs loita say. That's why he gives two things. For connected the two things that are mitzvahs, which are in audits, he gives two examples. One example for mitzvahs say, which is positive mitzvahs, and one is loita say, what you're not allowed to do. For mitzvahs say, shema zeratem v'loit tzomcha, is this ever such a thing that you planted and it didn't grow? That's mitzvah say. Then there's loita say. Did it ever happen? The Eibush said that when you plant chitim, it should grow chitim. Did it ever go and do something else? and do the opposite David said? David, no. So you could learn, why did he give the example of Chitim and Soidim? A child already knows from Pashas Nosei that the regular Karbonah says it's from Chitim. Why it's Michael Oda? A woman that's a Soita, they bring Soidim because she did Maisa Behem. So when a person is doing the opposite of what the Eibishter wants from him, he's doing like Maisa Behem. It's Gerua, worse in a way than the Behem. But that's what we're saying. The Soita did against what the Eibishter wants, so it's like Maisa Behem. That's why he gave this example. Shemba, with the earth would ever do such a thing that you plant chitim and give soidim? No, it never said. So this one is example looking at the audits. Look at the and one is example for mitzvah say, and one is example for mitzvah loitase. Now l'choida, we say that the Torah says that Adam Rishon got a punishment for koitz v'darda tatzmiach loch. So the Rebbe says that you have to ask a farmer, but until you ask a farmer, you can trust the psukim. The Torah said, and Rashi says that it's only by kitnius, and what else Rashi says? Yarke soda. If you're gonna plant yarkes gina or kidney, is those you don't must live. Don't think it's only. We see that lechem is very choshev. So when a person is going to want to plant chitim, the Eibishter made that the teva and the earth is that if you want to plant chitim asoirim, which is the basic staple in order to live, that the earth is never going to be meshanas midosa. That's why he says, that's why Rashi's medaya. Koitz v'darget tatzmiach loch keshetazena kitnias or yarkes gina he tatzmiach loch koitzim v'dardarim b'shor izbe asoda. If you plant a chitim and soidim, which is the basic thing that you need to eat, you plant chitim, you're going to get chitim. You're not going to get koitz v'dardarim. But if you plant tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and beets and potatoes, so sometimes you get beets and potatoes, sometimes you get a fungus and a shmongus, because the chitim asoidim is essential for human beings to live. And without chitim,
we have famine. We have such a thing as famine where plant and you don't, the field
doesn't grow altogether.
Yeah.
I guess, but over here is a thing that the Torah said that there's a certain person that it's shaykh to plant, and instead of getting kitnius, you get koitzim v'dardar. I guess I hear your question. I guess famine is that you plant and nothing. It's like it's sitting in a box. It's not. It gets hot. That's it. Or maybe a rats even. And we had Rashi talk about the difference of the klol of Moshe Rabbeinu and the klol of Eibshter. If it just sits under the ground, if the chitam are going to sit there and not grow, or is it going to get root? It's going to
see the Shema that we have Sarva Onesh that if you do the right thing, you'll have rain and a bountiful crop, and if you do the wrong thing, then I will withhold the rain and you'll have a famine.
Right.
But apparently
we're not talking about rain now. That's because the earth didn't do anything wrong at this point. The earth didn't be mishana the midah. The midah is you have to have rain. If you don't have rain, it's not going to grow. Mishana the midah means that it planted, it rained, it grew. Voila! I planted potatoes in this koitz v'gdardarim. It's different than saying.
How would you? So again, so I understand. If you plant to get potatoes and you get thorns, what's going on that you got thorns instead of potatoes? Is this what we're saying tonight?
So he's saying that's taka, that's taka on oynish, and over there the earth is mishana the midah. When you're planting basic staples like chitim and soidim, that's when
Onesh is two different possibilities. When it comes to wheats and barley, it's one cheshbon of Onesh, and when it comes to other things, it's a different Onesh.
The Eibishter didn't want to make it so hard. Right?
Right.
Didn't want to make it so hard. So the basic staples of a human being, it's that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Right, the Kain Behevel, that the one was brought to Chelve,
Yes.
and and Cain brought okay, so this is a for mitzvah say mitzvah loy to say. That's why Rashi brought two examples, and that's why he breaks achitim and soir. Now the problem is that l'choira you could say that the earth is a rock. It's even the Sikra Musa say even you shouldn't take a rip for no reason. You shouldn't rip off a leaf off a tree. But then, no, we don't find the Sikra Musa should say that you shouldn't take your hand at the beach and go like this in the sand. So the L'choira, you're telling me I should learn a lesson. So Mela by the sun, you could learn that the son Take, the Kal Galachama, has a Bechira, and he picks to do the right thing. The truth is, there's a Gemara and an Avodah Zorah that says, so Gemara Avodah Zorah and elsewhere, that the sun is every morning the sun doesn't want to go out. The sun says that the Goyim are going to serve Avodah Zorah, and the sun gets lazy in the morning. He says, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And they have to, the Malachim have to go, you gotta go, it's your turn to go. They start, that's why in the morning the sun is red, because they whip it. That's why the sun is, that's what the Gemara says, Nedorim and Sanhedrin. It's two Gemaras. Nedorim daf Lamates and then daf Kuf Yud. It's a very funny Gemara. So, the sun is upset that the people are going to be serving Avodah Zarah. That's why in the morning it's red. Just got a couple. Just got a gazette's the meaning. So
it's funny, they say that Shabbos is the same letters because the Shabbos has to serve.
Has to serve.
It doesn't have a
but he doesn't want exactly. So with the sun, you could say that the sun is Galgal Hashemish. That maybe Rashi learns like the Rambam. But the earth, what do you mean? How can you saying I should learn from the earth? The earth has a teva that l'choira is not shenitin l'shinu. So the Rebbe says that the truth is that we find earlier in the pasuk, and also when the Eibishter created the world, we find that the Eibishter punished, when the Eibishter punished Adam Rishon, he also punished the trees. Why? Because when the Eibishter created the world, he wanted that the tam eitze v'tam piriya should be shava. He wanted that the fruit of the apple and the apple tree should taste exactly the same. And the trees didn't listen. So, what do you mean they didn't listen? That a rock doesn't listen, the fire doesn't listen. So obviously, the Rebbe says, in order to answer it up, you'll have to say something. You have to say something. The child is going to ask his Rebbe. He's going to say, what do you mean? The seltzer bottle didn't listen to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Plastic cups didn't listen to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Rocks don't. Fire, basic elements, where they didn't listen to the Rebbeinu Shalom. They got punished. That's a pshat. So obviously, you have to learn in pshat, some type of pshat. What's the pshat? Just like a human being, there is an neshama in the goof. The goof is taka, like I said, azak mitzudik eisik inflation. It's like but still, then because there's a neshama, the neshama is dynamic. The neshama is alive. The nails when they're growing, then you look over Shabbos, you cut them off, and then you burn them, you flush them, you bury them, whatever. But b'shas they're mechubah to the person. If you pick up a nail, chas v'shalom, it hurts. So the hurt comes because there's a neshama. So obviously, there's a neshama to the world. There's a neshama to the world, and when Chazal say that they didn't listen, it's talking about the neshama. The neshama of the even if you're not going to talk in terms of Chazal, the kol that it says that every blade of grass, that you're learning it, and somehow that there's some type of neshama of a goof situation, and therefore they got punished. But it's funny because they didn't get punished as soon as they changed. They got punished later when Adam Rishon sinned, because they're in somehow whatever they did caused that Adam Rishon sin, maybe because Adam Chava would have sinned. The whole discussion of Hashem why the Eibush didn't punish right away the plants. The Eibush waited till Adam Chava sinned. When they sinned, that's when he. Why? If they did something wrong, why didn't he punish? So there's a whole discussion. Rechaim, the Alshich, others, that what they did wasn't wrong per se. It's just that what they did caused that Adam and Chava sinned. So therefore, when they caused Adam and Chava to sin, that's when they got punished. So therefore, they're not Mishana. The Taka, the emissaries, the earth is never Mishana, it's Midah. So, be it as it may, that's the pshat that a person could look at the Shemayim and learn a lesson, and a person could look at the audits and learn a lesson. Again, because in other words, otherwise a person is going to say, "What kind of silly thing you're telling me? I should learn from the heaven and the earth." They're not bali bechida. When you learn this Rashi, it's takashve. What? I should learn a lesson. I should learn a lesson. What do you mean? I should learn a lesson? They say the story of the Nitziv that he was a little child, and he used to sleep in. This seems as the Nitziv himself told a few stories about him. He was a child. He was not so. He wasn't born the Nitziv. He wasn't born with the Sefer Meishiv Dovishal Zechuvas under his arm. He was a wild kid. He wasn't interested in learning. There's a few stories that he told the Chayav. So one of the stories he said, his father woke him up in the morning. He schlepped him to the window. He said, "Look, I've told you to give my cook." You see, there was that time there was maskilim. It was 7 a.m. The kids, the buttons were polished, and they were wearing briefcases. And they were walking quickly. They're going to school. Look at these guys. They're going to school to learn divrei kvida and shtus ve'hevel, and they're going early in the morning and they're running, and you're puffing in bed instead of waking up to go to shul and daven. So he said, Tati, you don't understand. The same Yetzirah that's making me sleep is making them run to school.
Again, what's the lesson of the earth?
Oh, so what's the lesson? So before we talk about what's the lesson, the Rashi says, from the Shemayim we learn that the Shemayim it teaches one lesson, the audits. Like the Rebbe was saying that the Shemayim we learn about Torah, and from the audits we learn mitzvahs. Mitzvah say, mitzvah loita say. That's like is one example for Shemayim. The two, one mitzvah say, mitzvah loita say. But a child is going to say, "Rebbe, this is not fair. What are you telling me?" Like the Netziv said to his father, the same Yetzirah that's making me sleep is making them go. What do you mean? I have a Yetzirah who makes me go on the wrong path. But the sun, the earth, they have no seichel. So that's why the Rebbe is saying that the Shemesh Taka is Galgal HaShemesh. The Galgal HaShemesh does have a seichel. And never says
Doesn't have a seichel.
Oh, so the earth doesn't have any seichel. You have to emphasize that there is some type of, just like an neshama of a goof. My nails have no seichel, but my brain has seichel, and my brain, when it's functioning with the koyach and neshama, then there's seichel. The same thing here, that there is like an neshama and a goof. So there is some, and we see
the neshama is one thing, and having kind of das is something else. Two different things.
Right, and v'hodaya that they got punished. Because the Eibishter said that they should make Tam Eitzah and Tam Pirya Shavet, and then they made that the Tam Eitzah and Tam Pirya should not be Shavet, and they got punished for it. So it's a raya that there is something there. So so you could learn a lesson. So you could learn a lesson from the Shemayim, and you can learn a lesson from the audits.
So look, the guy had a tree, and it wasn't the best. Asked the people, so the guy said, "Hey, don't do the tree." They asked him, "Why not?" Like, come to the city and have food.
People say that they talk to their trees and they talk to their plants. Pets, that's not a pella. Pets.
Pets listen.
Yeah, but you see that the Torah says that the Eibishter told the animals that they should have loida from human beings. So Shema Minov, the Eibishter didn't tell the animals to be scared from the human beings. They wouldn't. Say if the person has a tzelem alakim on them, the animals will not hurt them at all. Why? Because the Eibishter told them that they have to. So Zaraya, that animals are not. But the Pella here is about Shemayim Ba'oretz. Pella is at the Shemayim Ba'oretz. That's why Rashi is having a little bit of a hard time.
If I remember words and college, right now, that each one, I said, said before, I had one before the session, before the feeling.
Yeah.
The more people there. Plus, to the understand that.
So the Hebrew shall help.
Start with 20 million stars.
No, but the stars love dafka. They have seichel. The Rambam said the Galgalim have seichel.
Right, but it's also about
The love dafka and the stars. Or the Shemesh Shalatzma love dafka. So then you could learn the fact that we say Sichos different column. Like it's a love dafka the column itself. There's malochim that just like we said, that there is ein l'cha etzem v'mat Hashem mazel b'mayla makva v'megedel. Again, we're learning Pshuta Shemikra, but it's still, even in Pshuta Shemikra, there has to be some type of explanation. You're telling a child, look at the sun. The sun is listening to the Rabbani Shalom. So the child didn't yet learn the Gemara that in the morning the sun, it doesn't want to go out because he's nervous, and they hit it and it's red.
No, it's because the dad don't run on Smiach. Chita, you have to hold. Okay.
You have to work, yeah.
We'll never do the mindset. Because the dada, no matter where,
That's endless. Have a place that's fit Galileo, such a possible.
and it's softball.
Why not just scream like Galileo? Maybe in this spot by this phone. Okay, maybe she'll help them. We should. One of the things is that Shemayim Ba'oretz, they're the first. We should learn from them, but also they're standing to say Eidus. So elsewhere, Rashi says why? Because they're the first ones. Yada Eidim Tirba Shoino. That the first shot, the second shot I see is that we should look at the Shemayim Ba'oretz and learn from them. First shot is no, that they're Eidim. That they're so David shall help them that these two aid in the Shemayim Ba'oretz should see how the Yidden are learning Torah and Kayim mitzvahs the Yiddur, and that we should be Masati Geshmeichem V'Yitze and all Yidden should have Tzivach Tzimatoyim and Hashanah Torah. So oh yeah,
Amen.
oh Shkar for joining us. Alter Rebbe and
Today's final, or
yeah.
Father Shem Tov.
Yeah.
There's two parents, one to life.
Wow.
Shkar
Everyone that's joining us.
After my anybody come and do young yourself, 5 minutes and then